पर बड़ा ज़ालिमों ने किया इस्तिक़ामत को तेरी सलाम आफिया, इस्तिक़ामत को तेरी सलाम आफिया। मैं तुम्हें खैर के अपनी आम आफिया, तुझ पर बड़ा ज़ालिमों ने किया इस्तिक़ामत को तेरी सलाम। सलाम आफिया दास्तां पे पर बड़ा ज़ालिमों ने किया इस्तिक़ामत को तेरी सलाम आफिया। जुल्म तुझ पर बड़ा ज़ालिमों ने किया इस्तिक़ामत को तेरी सलाम आफिया, इस्तिक़ामत को तेरी सलाम आफिया। कैद में गैर के अपनी इज्जत रहे, कौम की होती पामाल मत रहे। कैद में गैर की अपनी इज्जत रहे। सलाम आफिया इस्तिकामत को तेरी सलाम आफिया इस्तिकामत को तेरी सलाम आफिया
थोड़ा साइड पे हो जा, थोड़ा साइड पे आ जा।
और किसी को
नहीं बस
सब हो गए और तो
कॉपी दे देंगे ना एक दूसरे को।
अच्छा अच्छा
हमारे कैंपेन में एक ब्रेक थ्रू भी है कि ऑनरेबल मिस्टर रैमजी क्लार्क और उनके साथ लॉरा कैस्ट्रो यहाँ पे आई हैं। ये भी अटॉर्नी है, ये तो अटॉर्नी जनरल अमेरिका के रह चुके हैं और उसके बाद इन्होंने डेमोक्रेसी के लिए और जमहूरियत के लिए बहुत काम किया है। ड्यू प्रोसेस एंड इक्वल जस्टिस के लिए इनकी कैंपेन हमेशा चलती रही है। यहाँ पे जुल्फ़िकार अली भुट्टो साहब के जब मुकदमा चल रहा था तो मोहतरमा बेनज़ीर के साथ बैठ के पूरा, और ये बहुत चाह रहे थे कि ये मुकदमा वो लड़े और वो करें। उन्होंने कहा मैं उस एक दोस्त को बचाने के लिए पहले आया था पाकिस्तान और अब मैं एक बेटी को, पाकिस्तान की बेटी को बचाने के लिए आया हूँ। वहाँ से ये पैगाम लेकर आए हैं जो ये खुद आप लोगों को बताएंगे और वालदा से मिलने के लिए आए थे और इंशाल्लाह सेमिनार से खिताब करेंगे। तो मेरे ख्याल से मैं इन्हीं को दे दूंगी ताकि आप लोग जल्दी से।
Good afternoon. It's both a joy and a pain
मोहम्मद लाउड कर दो थोड़ा।
being
Bring it closer to you.
okay. It's both a joy and heart-troubling.
यहाँ से तो ऊपर नीचे।
बटन ऑन ऑफ माइक में ये इधर दीजिएगा एक सेकंड।
आप Okay, go ahead.
Okay. Try again. It's a mixture of great joy and also deep pain to be in Karachi again. The last time I was here was not the last time, maybe the first time I was in Karachi was when Benazir Bhutto was first sworn in for her first term. I had sat through her father's trial in the Supreme Court in the late 1970s in Rawalpindi. A trial that involved not only the military here, but sadly the interest of the United States too. And freedom for Pakistan, freedom for everybody, is closely related to freedom for Aafia Siddiqui, who's a victim of the same lust for power, lack of respect for the rights of humanity and the individual. And all who care about truth and justice must stand up.
हाँ बिल्कुल रिपीट करें वरना तो कोई नहीं सुन रहा।
Must stand up for the freedom of Aafia Siddiqui, this beautiful young Pakistani woman, her beautiful children, one gone so tragically and mysteriously, represent the struggle for peace and freedom. Freedom from drones. What does it mean when another country can kill from the air in Pakistan? It's the same thing as taking Aafia and putting her in solitary confinement. The federal prison on Lake Worth, 40 miles from where I was born, in Dallas, Texas, in solitary confinement. I've been in that prison a number of times, and it's a woman's prison. And women's prisons are crueler than men's prisons in a way, because they lose everything in prison because they so depend on being with their children and families and their loved ones, serving them. It's wonderful to see the passion of your people. Just driving here this morning, we only got in about, I think, 4 a.m. this morning, but driving out from the center of the town or the hotel or wherever we were, thousands of people and thousands of signs to free Aafia. So the voice of Pakistan is the most important voice on this issue, because she represents the ability of foreign powers to interfere directly in your lives, your well-being. So we have to join together in demanding freedom of Aafia Siddiqui, so we can have peace and brotherly love on earth. Question?
Yes, sir. Sir, what would you do in regard with something to be Aafia? What are your intentions in the future?
Well, my intentions, I'm just one person and one voice. My intentions are to endeavor to persuade my own people in the United States, because their government is so deeply involved in this moral crisis. We talk of our country as the land of the free and the home of the brave, and we bravely imprison in solitary confinement this beautiful Pakistani mother and woman. So it's basically spreading the word. When the truth is known, Aafia will be free. If the truth isn't known, then the power of governments to do with people as they will remain unimpaired. I left government, it's hard to believe, more than half my life ago. I left I served from the first day of President Kennedy, 1961, January 20 to January 20, 1969. So I've been out of government more than half my life, and that half I spent on what I'm doing now, trying to do what an individual can do to secure peace on Earth, because we now have the capacity to destroy life on Earth. And we rattle that nuclear saber all the time. We don't think enough about the capacity to destroy life through nuclear attacks. One tried through nuclear submarine in the United States could destroy Pakistan easily. Carries warheads that are 140 times the explosive force of the Hiroshima bomb. You can imagine madness. But peace begins with the rights of the individual. If the individuals are free, there will be peace. And particularly if the voices of peace are free. The voices that power that wishes to dominate must be free if we're to be free for those who speak up for peace and struggle for peace. And if there's a single explanation for why Aafia is in prison, it's because that's what she did. She does. Because of who she is, will do.
Mr. Clark, could you tell us that the charges against Aafia Siddiqui and convicted from the American court, would you tell me that Aafia's charges was correct or not correct? They were saying
What he's trying to say is 86. The charge was attempted to murder, and she's sentenced to 86 years. Isn't that a little too much?
Not too much. If you want to ask that if the allegations are right or
You've vastly understated the issue. She was charged with attempt to murder, but she didn't murder anybody, and she didn't attempt to murder anybody, but she was nearly murdered. She got shot 3 times right here. And she's convicted for being shot.
Mr. Clark,
The charges were wrong.
Mr. Clark, excuse me. Muhammad, South Pakistan correspondent for Press TV. Is it a problem of an event or an incident, an isolated incident which took place and destroyed the life of Dr. Aafia Siddiqui, Pakistani neuroscientist? Or is there any, or is it the issue with the U.S. justice system now? Because when we see Zimmerman going scot-free after killing black, and there are many other cases, many other incidents happened against black community in the United States. So we can say now, or at least we can draw partial conclusion out of it, that there is some problem, some issue with the justice system as a whole. Do you think that think in this way?
Well, I've worked in the justice system in the United States for 60 years almost. And the United States government has committed wrong, and the justice system is a victim of it. It's happened before. One of the first trials that I got into when I left the government was called the Harrisburg Settlement. It was a major case on the front page of the United States papers for several years, actually. And one of the 7 defendants was a magnificent young Pakistani scholar, Iqbal Ahmad. He did nothing but think and analyze and write and preach for peace. So he becomes defendant number 7 in that trial. The Aafia case doesn't represent the nature and quality of the judicial system, but it does represent the ability of the executive branch policy to overweigh truth and justice in individual cases, on some occasion at least. happy to report that in Iqbal Ahmad's case, he walked free, as did all the defendants. But that was because we had a major defense effort. We had huge support. We had Catholic priests and social workers and among the 7 defendants, scholars like Iqbal Ahmad, and were able to show both the jury. We had to go through 1,200 people to get 12 jurors because of the local prejudice. People who had lost a husband. One woman lost a husband in World War II. She was pro-government. Other people, one was a secretary for a colonel in a munitions depot there in the district. So justice is hard to find in the justice system. It takes care, and in my opinion, perhaps the worst illustration of the ability to overwhelm truth and justice in the American system in an individual case. But both human nature and human institutions are imperfect, and this is Aafia's case. We had all the elements: the fear of terror and the poisoning of the American public opinion. And,
do you consider this incident as an isolated incident, or it's a kind of a generic behavior now?
Well, I consider the trial as an isolated matter, not an incident. It's a little bit bigger than an incident. It's a matter. But at the same time, it's part of a much broader and more powerful and deadly force, and that's militarism, the desire for global power, the willingness to create unimaginable weaponry. I don't believe sanity could support the idea of the existence of a Trident II nuclear submarine. We have to think of that. There are 8 on alert at all times in the Pacific right now. The Pacific Trident II nuclear fleet. And each of those submarines carries 140 nuclear warheads. They can make a wasteland of any country on Earth, one sub. Crater, according to their statements, a crater 50 miles in diameter.
Wow.
And as I said earlier, the explosive force, if you can measure something like that, 140 times greater than the bomb that incinerated Hiroshima.
Sir, as your intentions are quite clear that you want Aafia to be free from the prison. But do you think that if Madam Aafia will get the freedom, so America will have some other benefits instead of her freedom, or will they try to have some freedom against the freedom of Madam Aafia?
What he's trying to ask is that would America just give Aafia on humanitarian grounds, or would they want someone or something in exchange? What do you think?
For the freedom of Aafia.
For Aafia's freedom, would they want someone else in exchange? Would that be a possibility, the exchange of offenders?
Well, sadly, that's the way international power works, isn't it? You give up what you have to, and you get what you can. But I think it would be wonderful to have 2 justices done in a trade. One justice being the release of Aafia, and another the release of someone else being justice. But that's not what the system of justice is about. The system of justice works on a case-by-case basis. In Aafia's case, she ought to be free. She should never have been arrested. She should never have been tried. She should have been celebrated for her love and her compassion, her commitment to helping people.
Mr. Clark, at this juncture, where Pakistan and American relations are not good, they are negotiating, bring some new context. And did you do this thing the American government will take another prisoner, Shakib or Siddiqui, and they release Aafia. It can be done, it can be negotiated, or you will negotiate this.
Should you not release the guy who's for espionage, the one who helped Osama?
Prisoner swap.
CIA, the prisoner swap.
Is there any accord between Pakistan and the United States for exchange of prisoners?
Is the question whether there ought to be an exchange?
No, he's asking that if it does happen, would you be for it or against it? Right?
Or against releasing?
Yeah, an exchange of prisoners.
Well, I wouldn't have any objection at all to a just exchange, but you don't need to trade for justice, do you? Justice is supposed to happen not as a bargaining thing in which both sides profit, because that's corrupt itself. Innocent people ought to be free everywhere, everybody. Not as a matter of trade, hey, give me this and I'll give you that. That's power politics over the lives of individuals.
It's like Marx said many years ago that, I would let 100 guilty go free if I could save an innocent soul. So that's where the Marxist theory started from. So,
well, I think just people agree with this.
yeah.
Sir, but I want to ask that, is it under the international laws that a person was alleged that he or she committed a crime in a police station in Afghanistan, and she was tried and sentenced in the United States? Is the international law permits for this?
And when she's a Pakistani citizen.
When she was a Pakistani citizen, obviously. But I want to say that Dr. Aafia Siddiqui was alleged that she attempted to kill a person in a police station at Afghanistan, and she was tried and sentenced in the United States, and she herself was a citizen of Pakistan. Is it possible under international laws?
Now, can you explain that to us?
Right. What he's trying to say is that is this rendition or is this legal that Aafia, being a Pakistani citizen, is arrested for a crime in Afghanistan and is without anyone knowing 2 weeks later transferred to the US and being tried there when she's a Pakistani citizen, Geneva Convention, or is it internationally permissible?
Well, there are a number of interesting and important technical legal questions that you're asking. From the standpoint of justice, they're not terribly relevant. She's innocent and she's a victim of power politics and she should be free. At the same time, international law is important. It's at least some lawyers believe, naive perhaps, me among them, that peace through law is possible. With justice, you have peace, and law can give justice.
Mr. Clark, what about...
Doesn't necessarily give justice, but it can give justice.
I think we're getting late for the seminar.
Yeah.
What about the tacit agreements between the governments? If the governments are tacitly agreed, like they are agreed on drone attacks in the northwestern part of Pakistan, what about these tacit agreements, and what's their position in the under the domain of international law?
Well, as I understand your question, I'd answer it this way, that governments don't have the power to make law in individual cases. They're subject to the law in all cases. So it's not a matter of bargaining back and forth in a particular incident. And the United States had no right to conduct this trial, and Pakistan had no right to send her to the United States. So that both governments have been involved in not only wrongful conduct, but conduct that properly interpreted on the facts, as I see the facts, would violate international law.
Thank you. Sorry for the rush, Aafia Siddiqui, and we hope you're all going to attend that as well and cover it. I'm sure Mr. Clark is going to reveal some other interesting information and also open up a pathway for due process. We have other very esteemed speakers. You have the list, all of you, I think. We have our Supreme Court Bar President. We have Chief Justice Siddiqui, and we have Shamim Kazmi, and we have Iqbal Haider, former Chief Minister, Law Minister and Attorney General, and we have the former Attorney General Anwar Mansoor also as speakers. We have Anis Harun from the Audit Foundation and Business and Women's Shamim Kazmi. So I think it's going to be a very informative session, and we're all going to the Sheraton and look forward to seeing you all there as well. Thank you very much.